You and I with Rashmi Shetty is a simple attempt of bringing in stories of people you and I can draw inspiration from. Ordinary folks, extraordinary lives. Their uniqueness and individuality that make them interesting to talk to and to listen to. A reaffirmation of the fact: open your eyes wider. The world is far more beautiful when we acknowledge the presence of both you and I. Our guests today are Indranil Sengupta and Rabia Tewari, the husband-wife duo synonymous with the Mahim Clean-up Initiative. When they first moved to their sea-facing apartment in Mumbai and saw heaps of garbage on the Mahim beach, they took the first step. Armed with gloves, they began cleaning the stretch every weekend diligently between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. Slowly but surely, they inspired the city to step in and make it a citizen initiative and won a UN recognition. They share their inspiring journey and prove why each one of us counts in civic movements. Hi Indranil, hi Rabia. Wonderful having you on You and I with Rashmi Shetty. The Mahim Clean-up Initiative won you a UN recognition. Amazing reading about it, hearing about it, and seeing pictures about it. But what I'm very curious about is, where did the journey begin with the two of you in life together? Rabia, going by history, it is always the lady who's right. So we'll start with you, and you start where you all met. And maybe Indranil can pitch in if in case you have forgotten something.
Thank you, Rashmi. Thank you for having us on your podcast. So Indranil and I, actually, we have a common friend. She had gone to college with me, and she worked with him. And she had this crazy idea that the two of us should talk to each other. And I was actually in New York then, and Neil was based in Bombay. So we talked, and I think the first conversation we did out of respect for our friend, because we thought this is just bizarre because he was in Bombay, I was in New York. But yeah, no, it was a great conversation. Yeah, he made me laugh, and and it just went from there. And this was 2010, and we met up and got married in 2011.
Yeah, it wasn't that easy. She makes it sound very easy. I know I tried calling her and she said that I couldn't talk to her for a week. And I was on hold for a week. And only after a week, when she had time and she found time, is when she said we could chat. And I think that chat led to a very organic association, relationship, and we had so many things in common. We both like traditional art. We love music. We loved animals. We both have OCD for cleaning. So there are a lot of things. And I was, when my friend suggested that I should be talking to Rabia, and Rabia is based out of New York, and my first thing was, why is Rabia going to consider me? And it's such a ambitious mission to, one, get us to talk, and second is that something worthwhile comes off it, But she was so right in trying to match our personalities and our characteristics. She's known Rabia longer. With me, we've worked on a few projects together. So for her to, in those interactions, understand that some of my personalities would match with Rabia was amazing. And thanks to her, we are together. But
you must have been one impressive guy, Indranil, for Rabia to leave New York and come to you to Mumbai.
Yeah, that it was.
Yeah, I think the joke is that I was mesmerized by her eyes, and she was. I'll let you say that. So
yeah, I really liked his voice. I think when I heard him on the phone, because we were just talking on the phone. So yeah, so I really liked it. And also, the thing is that because we spoke to each other without any pressure, and because we thought we are so far away from each other, it won't lead to anything. And there was no pressure in that conversation, So it was a free flowing conversation. We were talking like two friends. And so yeah, it just made it very easy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember when we started talking, Rashmi, both had a mutual respect, one for each other and each other's position in their respective life. And second is that we were also quoting or talking at a time when long distance was still charming, because you really didn't have great internet speeds and you didn't really have that great connectivity. So we used to message each other, video calls weren't possible. We used to write to each other. I love taking inspiration from music and lyrics. And I remember I used to quote her songs all the time. Sometimes even lie about them being mine. Those words being mine, but that's not true. I'm joking. No, no. But I just think that what worked for both of us is that I think we were both sure about where we were in life at that point, and we both were very easy. You know, and I think what worked for me when I was talking to Rabia is that she just seemed so humble and so easy to talk to, because my biggest fear was that I'm from Bombay and she's from New York and she was there for 12 years, right? So I just thought that just our wavelengths won't match and the world she's exposed to be very different to mine. It felt like I had returned. I was in New York and she's been in India and Bombay all her life. She was so much more traditionally rooted, So it was quite interesting, yeah.
Yes, Rabia. What is it about this entire decision that made you say yes to shift from New York to Mumbai? You were clear what you're going to do once you come to Mumbai after marriage?
I think, when Indranil and I met, I was actually, already thinking of moving out of New York because I had been there for 12 years and I was wanting to make that shift. Even in terms of work, was trying to see if I can, work with another company. So I was considering that already, and I think that helped because before that, I always say that if I had met Indranil 2 years or 3 years before that, I might not have considered moving out of New York because I loved being there, So I had great set of friends and just enjoyed it, and I think it was a great experience. It's been a huge part of my, growing up. So I just feel that it happened at the right time. And then also, I think I was at, like you mentioned, I was at a point in my life where I was looking for a companion and I wanted to settle down. And with Neil, when we met, I came to Bombay because I'd never lived in Bombay before. So I wanted to see if I could live here. And I thought the energies were very similar of the two cities, New York and Bombay. And I have actually lived in multiple cities. I finished my schooling in Chandigarh. I grew up in Chandigarh, and then I went to Baroda. I did my bachelor's there, and then went to Delhi, and then went to New York. So I was open to the idea of moving to another city, and I'd been working ever since I finished college. So I told Neil, I said, I want to take a break for some time. When I moved to Bombay, it's a new city and also a new phase of my life.
Sometime, so, yeah. It wasn't sometime.
It ended up being 2 years that I did. Neil was like, oh God, she's never going to do anything. So I did that. And then I worked with with the boutique design firm in Bandra for some time. And and I love being in Bombay. I think the one challenge that, you face is that it's very easy to make friends when you are in college or when you first start working. So I missed having my friends in Bombay because everybody I met was his friends, his family, and also I didn't have any, except one cousin of mine, I didn't have any relatives also in Bombay. So I think the first year was, it was a bit challenging in terms of that, but now it's great.
Yeah, just to add to what Rabia was saying is that she was used to living in multiple cities, whereas I wasn't. I was always in Bombay. Now, actually, in hindsight, she's far more adventurous than I am, And I think I I did try to make an effort to find opportunities in New York, but I was comfortable being in Bombay. So I think I was a bit unfair when I made her moving to Bombay a viable option rather than I sometimes wonder if I tried hard enough to go to New York, but she wanted to get out of New York.
But and also it was, that the economy in the US was doing very well around that time, so there weren't many opportunities. So it was all of those factors too. Once we decided, like he proposed and we got engaged, it was like he gave me a timeline. I had to wrap up everything and be back, and which took some effort because I'd been there for so long.
I didn't give you a timeline, but I
But
said
yeah,
that
you
if
were
we,
always like,
yeah,
have you set a date? Have you set a date? Have you booked your flights?
she had actually come to, so she had said, come to New York to see me, and I couldn't afford to go to New York. So she offered to come to Bombay to see me, and I said that I will put you up and I will host you. And she had come for a 2-week trip. At the end of the 2 weeks, it'll be a lost opportunity if I let her go. So I proposed to her in the end of 2 weeks, and she extended her trip by another week, and we got engaged on that trip. And then she went back. And one thing, Rashmi, we had done before talking to each other and going through this experience. Both me and Rabia had not told a soul about us exploring a possibility of a relationship, and we were kind of superstitious. Also, we just wanted to be really sure about things before we announced to the world that we're together, because sometimes what happens, you get so excited, you announce to the world, and then things don't work out. And
what about the friend who proposed the whole thing?
So she knew. She knew. In fact,
yeah, she knew.
So the funny story is that when I was coming to Bombay to meet him, I was coming. I had taken the direct flight. It lands late at night, and he had offered to pick me up from the airport and take me to the hotel. So I had kept my friend. So she also lives in Bombay. So I had kept her as a backup. That if this guy doesn't show up. Or if at the airport only we decide this is not going to work out, you have to come pick me up, So yeah, she knew all along, of course. And
I told my eldest sister, who was also my mentor, a week before she was coming, Rabia was coming. And yeah, but ours was a complete leap of faith.
Yeah.
In the truest sense. We left all the exploring and discovering of each other in the real sense after the marriage. And then we lost the friend. I'm just joking. I'm joking. I'm not responsible for our doom. No. But Rajni is a good friend, and we're still in touch. And yes,
okay. But that's a nice touch to it, because they say that life is that which happens while we are busy planning. Yeah. And the fact of your union and Rabia moving to India, especially Mumbai, is something where the entire rest of your path was already laid out by the universe. Yeah. And I'm sure looking back now, you're connecting the dots. Yeah. So you came here, extended a trip, you got engaged, you went back, you got married, and you came here. How did the Mahim Beach Clean-up Initiative even get initiated, Rabia? Was it you and your OCD?
Yeah, so we were living in Shivaji Park when we got married, and we were actually wanting to move to a slightly bigger house for a while, and then we got the opportunity to live in Mahim and live by the shore. So I mean, the saying is that everybody in Bombay wants a house by the beach. So and so we were lucky to get that opportunity, and we moved to that house actually during the monsoons in 2017, and the thing was that when we looked out of the balcony, when you look straight, the view is lovely. You see the ceiling and you see the ocean. But when we looked down, or we saw the beach, and actually there was no beach. It was just a garbage dump. There was so much garbage on it, and it just felt really bad that this could be such a lovely spot for to take a walk, or for people to just spend their evenings. So we kept looking. We first thought that maybe this was just a one-day thing or a weekly thing, but it just wasn't getting clean. And then like any responsible citizen, you figure out, okay, what even can I do about it? So we called the BMC helpline a few times, and we told them about the situation, and they would promise that somebody would come, but we never saw anybody coming to remove that garbage. And so when we didn't get the desired response, I just went to Cheap Jack one day and I bought a pair of gloves, and I told Neil, I said, let's just start cleaning it ourselves, and hopefully when people see us doing it, other people from their surrounding buildings will join us. So yeah, and I think that one morning, I just got fed up and I said, let's go. And I just picked up the gloves and I said, are you coming? And we just took the elevator down and we went to the beach. And yeah, and that's how it started. And actually, when we did step on the beach, it was, you understand, like the the how big the problem is,
Mm.
and what are the sources and what are the dynamics at play.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so that's how it began. And we met a BMC official
Yeah.
actually on the beach that day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Rashmi, now let me tell the true story. This true story is that I wanted to gift Rabia a beautiful view, and a view of the sea, of the Mumbai sea, and also a clean beach. And that's what led to Mahim beach being clean. No, I'm just joking, but no, but like Rabia said, I think we just had a sore view, and I kept thinking that something needs to get done, but I also kept thinking that it's not my job to do. And I had a lot of I had a lot of inhibitions, right? Which is that I shouldn't do it on my own. I need to gather people. It's not my job to do. And log kya kahenge, right? I'm kisi aur ka, what are people going to think that I'm picking up somebody else's garbage from the beach? But Rabia was more clear-headed. She just said that, hey, listen, there is garbage on the beach. Let me go and see what I can do. And to be honest, we were also inspired by Afroz Shah. He had started a movement in Bombay on the Warsaw beach.
Yes.
We both had heard of him being able to show some impact and difference on his part of the city and beach. And so we took some inspiration from him. But she was the one to take the first step. And I said, I'm not going to let my wife go do this on her own. And I joined her, and then one weekend turned out to be 3 years, and a far cleaner beach now. Yeah.
1 weekend and 3 years. Oh my God, that's a long journey. It is strange that you set out on cleaning a beach. And this is what? How many kilometers of a stretch of a beach that you could see that you wanted to clean?
Mahim Beach is actually about 1,000 meters, so about a kilometer.
Hmm.
That's from Hinduja Hospital and goes up to Mahim Reti Bunder. And the patch that we could see directly from our balcony, I would say, was about
50 to 100 meters.
50 to 100 meters is what we could directly see from our windows. Yeah.
And the entire 1,000 meters was full of garbage.
Yeah.
And Rashmi, just to give your listeners a sense of the geography, Mahim is the heart or the center of Bombay. And Mahim Beach starts from a very famous and renowned hospital called Hinduja Hospital, and goes up to another very old iconic church in Mahim. So that's 1 kilometer long.
Yeah.
Okay.
The entire stretch was dirty, one Rashmi, because also it was the monsoon, so the sea flows up a lot more.
Yeah.
So it was like we walked on that beach and we were shocked to see that there was actually no sand visible.
Yeah. What had happened, Rashmi, is that we were a low-profile beach. We didn't have too much VIP movement on that stretch. We were a middle-class neighborhood. Also, the Mithi River that flows across the city, it's a 17-kilometer long stretch of river. That river meets the sea at Mahim, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of the garbage that we get on our shores is from Mithi River, and that garbage in the Mithi River comes from all the illegal encroachments and industries operating illegally on the banks of Mithi, and all their waste gets into the water because they don't have a well-functioning waste management system. So we get a lot of that garbage that comes onto our shore, and we get a lot of garbage from the ocean. But most of it is from Mithi River. The general sense was of the neighborhood and the authorities that ये कचरा तो recurring है, बार-बार आने वाला है, इसको साफ करके फायदा क्या, right? And we applied a simple logic saying that if there is garbage and if you see garbage, if you see litter, you pick it up, right? And it needs to be picked up. So that's the appeal we went with to the neighborhood and to the municipal corporation office of our ward. And we said, hey, listen, the Mithi, you need to set a filtration system at the confluence. And that's a larger project, but that doesn't mean that you let garbage that's 3.5, 4 feet high sit on the shores. It's just not acceptable. And that's where our involvement and our initiation of going down to the beach and trying to see what we could do on our own led to a lot of impact and other conversations with both the neighborhood and the municipal corporation. I also know what happened was that when you went to the municipal corporation saying that, hey, I have started acting on this, when you couldn't or when you haven't, made a lot of difference, knowing that this citizen or these citizens are taking ownership of their neighborhood and they want to keep it clean. Why? And then it's not our place to let them down, so yeah.
And I mean, Rashmi, like the first weekend, I think when we went out, we had no experience in cleaning a beach. We'd never done it before. So we managed to clean a very small patch because there was a lot of backlog. So you pick up a few pieces of garbage, and then you see there is more garbage underneath, and there is a lot of plastic embedded in the sand. So it took us a while to clean. But the moment you saw a clean patch and you saw that water flowing on the sand, I think that is what just motivated us that we had to keep on doing this and made us come back the next weekend and the following weekend. It took us, I think, about 7-8 months to see a larger stretch which was transformed and clean.
The view from the balcony is very different from the view on ground, right? When you go down on ground, you start realizing what the actual problems are, right? And we human beings are fairly intelligent, so you start finding solutions to those problems. Also, what happens is that, a lot of people ask us this, and when they see the visual references of the dirty beach as against the clean beach now, they just wonder how we did it, But I think what worked for us is that we found simple solutions. We didn't say that, how do you clean this whole 1 kilometer stretch overnight? And we thought we started thinking small. And that's thinking small and staying consistent to applying simple, small solutions helped us sustain the whole our efforts with Mahim Beach Cleanup. Yeah.
My only curiosity here is what about the neighbors in your apartment? When they saw both of you going down, were they curious? Did the kids come up and say, we'll join you? Who helped you? Who's asked? Just the two of you? How did you make it an initiative?
Rashmi, no, but a lot of our neighborhood and our neighbors and the neighborhood buildings were skeptical, like I said, because they thought this problem was recurring and nobody can solve it, leave alone a regular average couple, right? Once they started seeing some change, again, I think our biggest success and the reason that we've been successful, one, to galvanize volunteers to come and help us clean from all over the city, has been because we've been consistent and committed. And what we've done is that we've recorded all our challenges and progress on social media, right? And that helped spread the word. And when people started seeing our documentation and our documentation leading to seeing a cleaner beach is when they started saying that, hey, we want to contribute as well. And I remember when me and Rabia were on the beach cleaning, we have a little alley that leads to the beach, So we are cleaning and we're dealing with the problem on ground, but we're also keeping our eye on that alley to see, is somebody joining us? Is somebody coming through that alley? And we used to get so happy when the first volunteer walked in and then the second volunteer walked in. And Rashmi, most weekends we were 2 of us. And then the first year we went up to 15 to 30 volunteers. In the second year is when we saw some real traction. And second year onwards, we were getting close to 150, 200 people turn up on the beach every Saturday. And so many of them had no connection to that beach. They were coming from faraway suburbs. Come rain or shine, they were there helping us clean. And that gave us a lot of momentum, just to have so many people who we've never met join us on a beach that they might come once or twice or have not known of to help and support like the way they did. Yeah.
Actually, a lot of the volunteers who came didn't even know there was a beach in Mahim. So a lot of people didn't know that there was a beach that existed because, it is a low profile beach and, the big access points are near the hospital and the other end, which is the Reti Bunder. And so the in-between stretch has just narrow access to the beach. So yeah, a lot of people just get
I,
surprised that there is
I
a beach here.
I think what we did was when we started Mahim Beach, we set a few objectives. One is to see how this beach, how you can see the sand on the beach and clear the beach of the garbage. Second is to get this beach the attention that it deserves, both from the city, from the citizens, and from the authorities, right? And third is try and gain momentum enough for us to uh, talk to the government and for them to take us seriously about building that filtration system, because if because that's really important.
Yeah,
And fourth is, how do you make a public space more engaging, right? Like your weekend activity for so many of us, default becomes a trip to the mall and buying things you don't need or window shopping, and that can't be the life we all lead. That is such an insult to all the beautiful natural surroundings that are out there. So our biggest, I think, with Mahim Beach Cleanup, apart from cleaning the beach, was to get citizens to engage with their public space, and
take up civic action.
And take up civic action.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's very easy to blame the government for everything, but like with Mahim Beach Cleanup, we always say that it has to be a collaborative effort. It can't just be. Of course, the government has to do a lot more. They have the power, they have the resources, but citizens also need to get involved. I mean, I don't think Indranil and I had ever thought of going to a BMC office before we started this initiative. And when we first went there, we realized that it's easy to meet your ward officer. It's not that difficult, and they are ready to listen to you.
And they're very organized, and they have processes for everything. But just that there's so many problems they're dealing with.
That's where I think they want citizens to be involved, because it has to be, we are both wanting good for the city, right? So we want it has to be a collaboration, and they respect that. They definitely respect that. So yes, it is, we've always said that, it's easy to say that this is not my job and I pay taxes and this is somebody else's problem. But it is your city, right? It is right outside your house. It has to be an extension of your house, and you should feel the ownership towards it.
Yeah, I think it started off with civic action, and now we're having conversations about waste management and leading more conscious lives.
Yeah.
And it's funny how the journey has proceeded. Yeah, who would know we would have so many layers of conversations. We only first thought that we'll clean the patch in front of our house.
That too, the view, to make the view beautiful is where the journey began. It's so lovely to see that at the beginning, when you set out, it was when I get out into the balcony and look into the sea, that patch needs to be cleaned. And it ended up being a whole initiative that had so many people you didn't know come in and make the initiative that much more richer. But the first year you said you had about 15, 20, and then it went into the hundreds in the second year. So how did you manage to keep yourself motivated when you had just 15, 20 people believe in what you were doing? How about the local communities there? What gave you that push and motivation every weekend when you set out that, yes, we are making a difference?
One was, I think, when we got down, we have a small Koli community that lives very close to our building. For people who don't know, the fishermen community in Bombay, they're called Koli. So there's about 45 households that are just next to our building. And, I think it was the second weekend or the third weekend where the children from that village came and started cleaning with us. So it was just nice to see, that I think I always feel that, we live in our building and they live in their community. There are no opportunities for interaction between these communities. So when we got down on the beach, they first thought we were mad. They thought, who are these two people? They think they're going to clean this. This is going to keep coming. And they looked at us. They must be thinking, "Acha, ek din kar rahe hain." They will go and they will not come back. So when they saw us doing it again, the kids got excited. They joined in, and I think it was probably just for me internally. I feel like even if I picked up 10 packets from the beach, I felt like, okay, these 10 packets are not going to go back into the sea. And then there were a few people from our neighboring buildings who joined, who saw us, who saw from our windows. There was a music teacher of mine who lived buildings down. She came with her friends. And
Yeah.
it was, and one of the big things that, we always feel as one of our big rewards from this is that we met so many interesting people through this initiative. And I used to look forward to that. I just looked forward to going down and meeting these people, having these conversations, people from all walks of life. And you would also meet somebody. Some of these holy families have been living there for generations, and they know the history of the area. So that would be, getting to know what the history has been of Mahim, how this beach was, all the landmarks there. So I think all of that kept us going, and it changed our perspective in many ways. It made us very conscious because when you saw the garbage, you saw the damage that it's doing. It made us think about how I can not just cleaning the beach, but how do I bring about change in my behavior so that I'm not creating more waste. So I think it was all of those factors that kept us going.
Rashmi, she's covered most of the points, but I would like to add that I think the biggest motivation was each other. You know,
Yeah.
When I was down, she kept motivating me to perform, and when she was down, I kept motivating her because seeing a beach full of garbage can be extremely demotivating, and sometimes you wouldn't know what to do or where to start, and you were just brought down by the ignorance of all our all all of us, right? How ignorance and how inconsiderate we could be to our surroundings and our environment. So I think I would say that we've been able we were motivating each other. Second is that I think when you commit yourself to a cause and when people realize that you've committed, leave forget the fact that you're able to show change or not show change. But when they see you being committed to a problem, they acknowledge it and they give you a lot of love and they give you a lot of admiration. I think that acknowledgement and that love has also kept us motivated. We've had, after 6, 7 months of work, I remember our first article came out in the Hindu. We've had a lot of press write about us and about our work. We had UN felicitate us in June 2018. And more than anything is when, forget anybody else, but when the Koli community who live on the beach and who live off the beach, for them to see and use the shore to play volleyball or to play football or to play cricket or make a makeshift swing to swing on is that feeling
Those are our biggest rewards,
irreplaceable, or that feeling is what makes you feel so good, so high, and makes you keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and sorry, one more point is that in the current lives we're societies within societies. We're not one society today, you know. And with Mahim Beach cleanup, what happened was that we've met. It gives you the opportunity to meet people from all walks of life, and also to understand that how your life is so different from theirs, right? There's so many things that we have that they don't have access to, and they don't have access to, but they're far nicer and content people than you are, you know. And that energy has a different influence on someone, you know. So
Well, it's like, people from all walks of life and different societies working towards one goal. You're on that beach, you're all working together, just focused on that one goal to clean that patch. So yeah, it's just been an amazing journey.
Yeah.
I know. Even when you are talking, I can see you both reliving the whole thing of the ups and the downs, because that was part of the questions that I was to ask you next. But you said it so beautifully in the way you segued into how you motivated each other and how you kept the motivations up. I'm curious, what did the volunteers get? And you said many people don't even live there, they live in other suburbs and who came. So, how did you keep the motivation of the volunteers up by involving them and making them travel the distance? Because Mumbai is a big city and people travel distances to go anywhere. Was there some entertainment for them? Was there something that you gave them in return? What is it that they found the high about in the process?
I think the one solution to tackle this problem is to get a lot more people involved, right? And we said, how do we get this going? So one was social media, documenting our challenges and progress. How can volunteerism be made fun? And second is that taking inspiration from public spaces abroad and how they're used for to host such beautiful concerts for free. So it was a combination of those two things where we said that, hey, why don't we let volunteers come and do civic action, and in exchange give them some entertainment for free, and well curated entertainment for free. And it's called Open Door Fest. We started in a property called Open Door Fest, and we've done 4 till year.
Yeah, we've started that on the first anniversary of our cleanup, actually. So like Indranil mentioned earlier, so we had this narrow alley that led to the beach, and it was a dark alley. We got our volunteers involved and some of our artist friends. So we painted those walls, and Bombay Duck Designs, the artist came from Bombay Duck Designs, and they painted it and made it very appealing and welcoming. And then on the first anniversary, we invited volunteers to come and clean, and we cleaned for an hour. And then we had artists like Tewari, Shetty, Anurag Shankar. They performed for the volunteers, and we had dancers from SMDA who did contemporary dance on the beach. And it was so lovely, for the Kohli community also, and for all of us to be exposed to all that on a beach. And we did another one the following year where we had a classical singer, Chandana Bala Kalyan, who came and sang, classical music in the morning, after the cleanup. And she herself said that this is so unique because I'm here sitting with the elements and I'm singing, So and then we had I think right before the lockdown, we had a Belgian artist, Max van der Waals, who actually makes instruments from waste. He's a percussionist, yeah.
Okay.
And he was in Bombay, and he came and performed on the beach, and it was wonderful to see. And he involved the audience, he involved the children from the Kohli community, and it was just a wonderful experience. And also, like, because he was making instruments from waste, it also helps you understand how you can, waste can be turned into something useful and how you can recycle.
And a lot of the Kohli community children are very talented.
Very talented.
Like they're helping us put the show together, so they create the buntings.
Okay.
You want to be zero waste when you're organizing these events. So so everything that they do, all the crafts for the show, the stage that we make are actually made of bamboo and wrapped with old beautiful saris, it's lovely. Just working with them to put it all together, it's just lovely.
The idea of Rashmi, for Mahim Beach cleanup, it was not just to physically clean a beach. The idea was to create awareness and educate people on waste management, on how to keep your consumption low. And that's what we did with the cleanup on a regular basis also, where when volunteers come to the beach, we do a small briefing at the start where we tell them about the geography of the area and how to clean, the do's and don'ts. And then in the end, once they've done with the cleanup, we have a chat with them, and then we ask them for how they felt. And then we also tell them that your takeaway, you might not come again to clean a beach, and it's not possible for everybody to do that. But the takeaway has to be that how do you bring about change in your day-to-day life, because every little bit matters. So how do you segregate your waste, how you do proper waste management, how do you compost, and how do you reduce your consumption. And that's, I think that's what, and I want to say that there are a lot of people who are wanting to do things differently. There are a lot of people who are wanting, a lot of volunteers who come from far out neighborhoods. They are people who are conscious, who want to do something, and they we sometimes tell them that you can also pick up something close to you. I'm sure there are problems exist where
pick up your beach, pick up your neighborhood,
find your beach. So and just and that's how you can even sustain it, because it's easy access and you're close to it.
Yeah, and the joke is the power of one is overrated. Try power of two.
Yeah.
So we've also we also somewhere were hoping that more couples take up,
or
friends or
siblings,
couples or
yeah.
siblings
Yeah.
Take up good
Because
work.
it helps, because
Yeah.
it, like, he said earlier that, we motivate each other, so it's always good to have a buddy that's there with you to do this.
Okay. So when you are going on this journey, when you set out, how do you know that, okay, today's cleaning is over? Because you were saying that you had garbage piled up for 3 to 4 feet tall. How did you decide that today's garbage cleaning is done? How do the volunteers tell you that we are tired, or you set aside time? How do you know? Because you cannot clean the whole stretch at one go, right? And it keeps coming back. So, how did you decide that, okay, this much is for today, your target and goal for each cleanup drive? How was that set? By whom? And which of you is this organized person to document everything? And when you set out on the journey, you knew you're going to achieve the goal. So you decided you're going to document it because, when some of these decisions are very emotional, and to get it absolutely practical and to have that strategy in place is very important, because if it was not documented like how you had documented it, maybe you wouldn't even have seen, people wouldn't have seen what has happened over the years. But which of you even got down to be so absolutely rational to do this way? Somewhere it drives you also that, oh, okay, we shifted like maybe half an inch, but we did. And this documentation helped you in that. So which of the two of you is that strategy thinker?
I would like to say that I have the ideas,
Okay.
and Rabia is very meticulous in implementation. And also, we also try and bring our skill sets, right? So I'm a marketing guy by profession, and I'm a communication specialist in a sense. So we were very clear at the start is that everything that we document on has to be real, right? No fat, has to be real. And second, has to be conversational.
The idea was, to motivate another person like us,
Yeah.
to take up something, because like we are homebodies, we don't, and I'm not an early morning person at all, so I used to be surprised at myself that I would wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning every weekend, even if it was raining.
One is that, so what we did was that we have a schedule, right? When volunteers to the beach, the schedule is 2 hours, right? So what we did was that we wanted it to be early morning. So we had first set, the plan was first, let's set our cleanups to be early morning so the people can come do their cleanup, do their bit, and then have the day to do whatever they want, right? One. Second is that a lot of our cleaning schedule is dependent on the tide timings. We usually clean during low tide. So you're usually looking at a 6 to 10 o'clock window around that. Slotted our time to 8 to 10. Sometimes if you have the energy, you go on further. There are times we've gone from 8 to 1:30, and then we're eating on the beach, like a little picnic, with all the volunteers. But I think that we complement each other. I sometimes would like to say I have the vision and the ideas, and then Rabia is with me every step way to see that those ideas and vision gets executed right. And there has to be soul in all that we communicate. That soul that is when you're cleaning has to come out in the communication that we got. Oh, and listen, Rashmi, also sorry, a big mention. So we used to run. So I quit my job with a large media company, started design house, and the people at that design house worked with us also on the communication. So there are a lot of people who helped us, and a big shout out to them.
The beach with us, and also help us with the communication.
Was this in a way the reason? Because all of this is how the press notices. People see there is a regulation and they come in, that it's not a random stuff that is going on, but an initiative with a lot of thought behind it. And did this lead to that UN recognition? Can you tell us a little about that? The UN recognition?
The UN recognition actually was, we were nominated by Afroz, and he told UN about our efforts. And that's how we got that recognition. So it was very nice of him. And also him acknowledging what we do was extremely encouraging. Rashmi, social media, and so social media help us gain a lot of volunteer traction, right? People got to know about us. There are a lot of people who limit their engagement to a like, and our appeal to those people who do likes, please join us. But that being said, we've got a lot of volunteers from social media. What has helped us is also press. I think after the first 6-7 months, when the neighborhood got to know of our work, I think the press, did do some coverage on us, and that also helped us get the word out. I think sometimes it's important for the press, and we're thankful for the recognition and the acknowledgement that they give us when they write about our good work. But I think also sometimes the press needs to do some on-ground work, because not everybody's intentions are right.
So from whatever you have said so far, Indranil, Rabia, the initiative started on an emotional note of cleaning the view that you had and ended up becoming such a beautiful civic movement. And now there are so many layers that you're even talking about composting, segregation, and making people aware. Rabia, Indranil, you have had an amazing journey so far and initiated such a beautiful movement that you very rightly called a civic movement. A lot of people are inspired mainly because of an emotional state that they are in to get into something. How does this rational side of documenting everything that you do help you when you're taking a project like this move from that emotional space to a more practical space?
Rashmi, that's a good question. I think one of the things that has helped us is that we've tried to combine our passion to solve the problem, complement that with hard facts, right? And numbers and statistics, right? So we are constantly monitoring and trying to put a system or a number to the waste we've collected or the waste we've recycled, so that for a lot of people who think in numbers and think about what is the impact in numbers, you're able to kind of give them some rationale, right? One method of our calculation of the garbage we clear is by what the garbage that we clear from the beach, that's us and the volunteers, is by the tonnage of the truck, right? And how much weight a truck can carry. Every truck that comes to the beach and the garbage we pick, the truck has the capacity of carrying 10 tons of waste at a time. And we're constantly calculating how many trucks have we loaded, and we try to get some numbers going through that. We've had a few schools who've come and tried to document how many bottle caps we're finding as against plastic bags we're finding. A lot of this data, and that's where we're headed towards, like, what is that one product that you find the most of, right? Because if you have some serious data basis that is when you're able to go have a chat with the policymakers and say, this is the problem product, right? This is the one that needs solution now, not 10 years from now. So data is very important. There's still work to be done in that, and we need to be more scientific. But that being said, that we definitely do it, you know.
Yeah. And I think documentation, like Indranil said, it really does help, because even for us, when we look back, after 3 years, when you look back at about the work that has happened, the volunteers, it really helps because we've documented from day one.
Yes, it's not only about the waste we collect, but the people who turn up to clean.
It's just all of that.
The online reach that you have, right?
Yeah. So it helps, and also when somebody is trying to read up on you or wanting to know more about your initiative, it's all there, So it's just it helps with
because if you have the right documentation and if you communicate it fairly well, you'll have a lot. You would inspire automatically a lot more people to take up and make it easy for a lot more people to take up civic action. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very, very practical advice. And now we move to that part of the show where you're going to tell us your biggest takeaways, 3 life lessons that you've had, not only with this initiative, but overall 3 things that you would follow and you'd like to leave us with. Maybe in your case, we should have 6. 3 for you, Rabia, and 3 from you, Indranil.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
course, I used to always think that I was a very conscious citizen before we did Mahim Beach cleanup. But it was an eye opener when I went down on the beach. And it made me, so many of the packaging that I found on the beach are things that we used in our regular life. And it made me realize that, you don't even think about it, but you are over consuming. You're all leading a life of excess in our own ways. And it made me a little more conscious of what I was doing and how I was contributing. So one was that I wanted to keep a check on that. And then waste management. Of course, I think some of these might end up being joint learnings for us, and was waste management. Segregating wet waste and dry waste. Was that, and third, I think for me is that I think I always want to do some on ground work. I've realized that the joy it brings, the satisfaction it brings. And I love interacting with people that I meet when I'm doing this. You learn so much from others. You learn from others' perspectives. And so I think at any point in my life, wherever I am, I want to be involved in some kind of civic action and doing some work on ground. So.
Rashmi, for me, it has been self-belief, right? It's made me look inward. I think a lot of our problems, start with you pulling yourself down, right? Or you telling yourself you can't do this, you can't do that, or assuming that you'll be judged. And sometimes I think what Mahim Clean-up has done for me is let me shun those inhibitions, right? I think what matters is the impact that you can bring to any situation, right? Or any problem. So first is self-belief and shunning all the things internally that pull you back, right? Second is discipline, right? In terms of, I think clearly you can't change the world in a day, right? If you're going to want to take up civic action or community service and get impatient because things are not changing overnight, then you need to relook and realign yourself because things won't change overnight. So one is self-belief. Second is that discipline. Third is that Rabia has already covered the fact is that it's time to read between the labels. The time is, it's high time that we lead more conscious lives. You want to know where that garment is manufactured, how it's manufactured, how that manufacturing and us using that product is affecting that environment. One last thing, Rashmi, from my end is that the corporates, right? They can't say that they will fix the problem 10 years from now, or they'll find the solution 10 years from now. They need to find a solution now. They need to be far more responsible. If monoplastic is the plastic that's recyclable, then they all need to start changing to monoplastic today. They can't keep saying that we are going to use multi-layer plastic and see that there's some organization somewhere picks and takes the responsibility of picking this back out from the waste. They have to start saying, no, I will not use multi-layer packaging. And all have to start that today and figure out how they use innovation and science to still stand out when using monoplastic as packaging. And if they can't use packaging, and if they can come up with innovation which is alternates to packaging or packaging that is home compostable, I'm just amazed that with so much money that these corporates have made, that they've not found a solution for it. Like it's just, which is a large company that's saying, I will give you a rupee back for the plastic you give me, or put in a logistic chain or supply to facilitate that.
Yeah.
Small companies are saying we want to be sustainable and we are sustainable in the solutions we provide, but the small companies won't have the same impact that a large company like a Unilever would, or any other P&G would, or any of these large FMCG brands would, right? If they're saying multi-layer packaging is bad and everybody is saying it's bad, then why aren't you shifting to monoplastic, right? Just put your name of the product nice and big, in one color and put it up on the packet. Like I don't get it. They would want to have large conferences, forums, spend more money, create more waste to find simple solutions. Sometimes it's funny how the world defies logic. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
very true. But the thing is, it takes us inward. In the last 1 year, ever since COVID struck, there have been global conferences which were virtual. So there has been no waste whatsoever that has been generated, no carbon footprint because the travel has been drastically reduced. And people have understood they can work from home. So everything took a back step, and I hope and pray that this 1 year with COVID has taught us minimalism and understanding that we don't need to have everything that we desired. We can make do with a lot of those and still be happy. And like both of you very correctly said, I think change has to come from within. It's that person who's inside who you need to get in touch with to understand who you want to be outside and not as defined by the world outside. Very beautifully brought out, Rabia and Indranil.
Rashmi, on your show, I would like to give a big shout out to our 3 beautiful pets, Silo, Gabru, and Bella. Silo and Gabru are our dogs, and Bella is our cat. And they're our world. And I think everyone should grow up around animals because I think it could lead to a far more empathetic world.
Exactly. And you know what, Indranil, I can't agree more because they keep us closest to nature, which somewhere we lost connect with in our busy lifestyles.
And they don't necessarily need to be in your home, but just engage yourself with nature.
We have to coexist. I think we're forgetting that, and we have to learn to coexist.
Exactly. And this coexistence is what you so powerfully brought out. Thank you so much, Rabia and Indranil, for being part of You and I with Rashmi Shetty. It was a pleasure, and thanks for taking us on your journey. All the very best.
You're lovely. Thank you. It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you so much, Rashmi. We loved it.
With that, we come to the end of this weekly quest of You and I with Rashmi Shetty. Do let us know if you know people who make the world beautiful. Write in to rashmi.thethirdeye@gmail.com. That is rashmi.thhirdeye@gmail.com. Come, let's explore this amazing world together, both you and I.